RCN is focused on people. Without people, there is no community. Everything we do boils down to these three words: inspire, inform, and empower. If we don't share our passion for the industry with others, we'll never inspire them to consider working in it. Whatever you're thinking the future might be in 5, 10, 15 years, it only gets there if action takers take the steps, and you could be one of those people. You can do anything that you can imagine. Good morning. Okay, you gotta listen to this song for a minute. Have you ever heard a song talk about photogrammetry?
Right.
Oh, well, we tried. Okay. No, I'm sorry. It's worth it. Go back. Turn that song back on.
From laser scanning to photogrammetry, we innovate. Visualize the future where boundaries fade and greatness inebriate. The metaverse beckons, we embrace a digital fate. In this realm of reality capture, we conquer and elevate. Beyond the horizons, where dreams take flight.
Okay, that's good. That's good enough. Look. Okay, it's fun. That whole song was generated with prompts and AI, and it sounds like a produced, recorded, it's amazing. We're here to talk about technology, right? Innovation. We're also okay with failure, right? So we may not get it right the first time, but we can keep iterating and trying, and we'll get there. Well, welcome to the conference. So excited to have you guys here this week. Thank you for traveling all the way to Idaho. Who in the room has never been to Boise, Idaho? Like everybody. Well, it's exciting to have you here. We have people from over 15 countries and 40 states all the way to Boise for this event. That is incredible. Thank you for traveling that far. As one of my friends right over here from the East Coast side of things always tells me, coming up to this conference, he's like, you know what? It's easier to get to Paris, France than Boise from. And, my response to him and many others who ask the same question is, well, maybe it's a really good conference then because you keep coming back. So thank you again for making the trip. Why are we here this week? Think about that question for a minute. What is the main reason for you being here this week? I think it is because we're building a community. We're building a community of people who believe in change, even though change is difficult and it's scary. We believe in innovation, and we're seeing a lot of technologies disrupting many industries. So this week, we're going to be talking a lot about technology. There's a lot happening. But ultimately, as much as we love the tools, they are useless without all of these people, without all of you. RCN is focused on people because without people, there is no community. So thank you again for being here, believing in the vision that we're laying out, and being participants. These are three words that we came up with when we're talking about RCN. What is RCN? Some of you just found out about us last week. Some of you have been following for a while. We started as a podcast. We also have a conference. We also have committees working on education stuff. We do a lot of things, but ultimately, everything we do boils down to these three words. Our goal is to inspire, inform, and empower. Our community, I've said this before and I say it all the time. I'm like, you know what? I think I need to say this in every presentation I ever do. Our community is one of the most important communities in the world because you guys are literally building the world. We have people here that work on airports, that work on roads and bridges, that build nuclear facilities, that build oil facilities, that operate them, that maintain them, that measure them, that design them. The world is impacted by what you guys do. Now, if you think about what we can do as a community, when we're trying to address problems in the industry, we're trying to look at new technologies. There's a lot more that can be done together than any one company or individual can do by themselves. And that is the whole goal behind what we're building. So I am going to talk a little bit, every time I open this conference, I think, what the heck am I going to talk to all these people about? There's a lot of technical content coming the next 3 days. I could talk about case studies and scan registration and survey control and scan to BIM and digital twins, but instead I'm going to leave that for all the other experts, and I'm going to start with the fluffy stuff. I hope you're okay with that. I want to talk a little bit more about the inspiration piece, the information, the empowerment, and ultimately trying to get more people passionate about this industry. So I might tell you a little bit of a story, if that's okay. If you get bored, I'm sorry, you're welcome to leave. But I hope that there's something you can take away from what I'm going to share. That was me. I had a dream when I was younger. It was to play in the NFL. I loved sports. That was my passion. I had, looking back, I don't think I thought of any other career opportunity. I was just focused on playing. And, on the side, I'm doing school, right? And I'm like, I just got to get through that so I can do what I like. And I thought I would keep going forever. It was my passion. It was my hobby. And I think sports also was the first time that I was able to learn about teamwork, learn about community within the team, learn about the importance of each role on the team and wanting other people to be successful. Because what happens if you're the quarterback and your line in front of you is not good at their jobs? It's not good. Teamwork and community, I think that's really where that passion started for me. Sports itself was something I could not pursue anymore. I had a really bad car accident when I was 16, really in my prime high school days of football. And I'll save the story, but 13 surgeries, couldn't walk, so football was off the table. And when you lose the ability to do what you really love, you kind of lose yourself. And there's a lot of this I didn't really learn early on when it happened, but I look back and I can see all these puzzle pieces. After losing the ability to play sports, I found myself fall into some depression. I was addicted to video games. I got into 3D environments. And a new passion popped up, which was actually music. That was back when I had hair. 18 years old, I found myself touring the country in a rock band, signing autographs, playing in festivals. But that just so happened to be in 2008. It was very short-lived. We got back from our tour, and the band had to call it quits because I was 18, but the other guys were like 30. They had families, and the tour and the music was supporting a little bit, but not enough. And so, again, at that point, found myself as an 18-year-old quickly learning that I'm now an adult, and I have to have a real job that pays you money so you can buy things and pay bills. So that is how I entered this industry. I got back, and my father is a licensed land surveyor, and here's me. That's a very blurry photo. I mean, I don't even know what camera it would have been, right? I don't think there was really cameras on phones. I don't even know. I wish I had more photos, but that's me transitioning from black and purple hair to the survey industry. I can also tell you, I was not all that passionate about it yet. It was a job. I was riding around in a truck, pounding nails in the ground. It was not that attractive to me yet with the things I was transitioning away from arts and from sports to now surveying. But then something changed. There was some technology that entered the scene. We had somebody come show us this laser scanner, which back then, 14, 15 years ago, was a massive, expensive device that collected minimal points, that was difficult to use. You had all these targets. Like it was a lot more difficult back then than it is now. So those that are entering, you don't even know. But that technology, these are random photos from back then and more recent. This technology is what I was able to find and put passion into again. Used to love sports, used to love music. It kind of got into survey. It was not that exciting for me, but the technology as a young person completely changed my point of view at the work I was doing. Before that, it was like, man, I got to wake up again. I got to go into the office. It's going to be a long day. It's early. The technology is what got me excited. I'm like, I want to be at home researching this. I'm like on a forum. I'm looking into like, how do we scan a building? And it started taking me into industries I'd never been in before. Even the company I was working at when we got into scanning, we were doing oil and gas work when we first got our scanner. We were doing facilities, but we didn't work in buildings. We didn't work in forensics. There were all these other industries that as we started scanning, were like getting asked to come do. And part of that, I also started using LinkedIn. I started sharing the projects we were doing. Nobody back then was asking for this information, asking for scans, asking for point clouds. The only people that were using it is people who found out about the tool and used it for themselves, or you're really like working hard to convince clients. Over the last 10 years, that's really started to change. Lots of people are demanding it. The growth is definitely increasing. But again, these technologies are what excited me. I was able to then move on to building a company, working all over the country on everything you can imagine. And I don't say that in a bragging way. It's what got me excited to start RCN. When I started seeing the technologies used I've worked with projects for the FBI and law enforcement. I've worked for nuclear stuff. I've been in nuclear containment where they're like, hey, don't touch that valve. You might get hurt, or you're turning away from stuff. You're going in oil and gas facilities. You're behind scenes at airports. And when I started my company, I was 25 years old. I had no degree. I didn't go to college. So seeing what it's done for my life and my career is what then made me say, more people need to know about this. More people need to know how to use these. The other thing that I ran into, though, using these technologies over the last 10, 15 years, is there's a lot of problems, too. There's a lot of difficulties. There's a lot of technical complexities. Just last week, I was at Dutch Bros here getting a coffee, and the kid in the window was like, what do you do for work? College-age guy. And I always have a hard time answering that question. I'm like, do I talk about scanners? Do I tell about a podcast? So to keep it short, I said, I host a podcast and build media content around construction technology. And usually when you tell someone like something like that, they're just like, oh, cool, and move on. He was like, he literally was like, not to be mean, but there's not a lot of content for you to create, right? There's not a lot of technology in construction, is there? I was like, oh, yeah. And in 10 seconds, I'm like, there's like scanners and drones and VR and robotics and all this stuff. And he's just standing there looking. He's like, well, I guess I'm a good example as to why you're trying to educate people about your industry. If we don't talk about our industry to people, we're going to continue to have that problem of lack of interest, lack of people entering the industry. And the technologies are something I really think can attract people in and help us solve a lot of those problems. If we don't share our passion for the industry with others, we'll never inspire them to consider working in it. We can't just sit around and complain about those problems. We actually have to do something about them. So my goal isn't just that I do this. Maybe I started it. Maybe I host a podcast right now. But my goal with RCN is to build the platform and the community for you guys to be able to educate, to come share what you're working on, to come share your presentations, how your company's using technologies. Another thing that we launched this year, we've talked about it for the last 2 years, is RCN Ignite, which is our first time startup pitch competition happening this year. We took applications from startups in our community. We selected 3 finalists who will be presenting and pitching at the event, and then we will be handing out checks awarding people. Again, another way of how can we use this community to empower others? There are brilliant people out here and around the world and in the community that often they get stuck with an idea or a dream, but they're not taking steps forward. And I think that as we continue to build awareness, we can use it for things like this. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. What a quote. And then Walt Disney, he built something, turned into a little company. If you can dream it, you can do it. A lot of times you hear quotes like this that famous big people said, and you're like, oh, it sounds so fluffy. But it's so true. You can do anything that you can imagine if you actually take the steps toward doing it. So on top of the inspiration piece, right? We want to get inspired to go build something. We want to do something new. Look, I'm sorry. I built this presentation last night. These are like random stock photos, okay? If we don't have quality information, then we're going to continue to struggle with that path and that journey. How many of you in here have ever struggled with registering scan data? Oh yeah, or modeling from point clouds. And how many of you know exactly where to go to help solve your problems? Nah, it hasn't been anything. So the information piece that we're wanting to focus on is we need to create educational content. We need to create guidelines. We need to create training material. We need, as this industry grows, as the technologies grow, we as a community can help empower each other through sharing our learnings, through working through problems together, as opposed to everybody doing it on their own. I look at people having problems today that we figured out how to solve 10 years ago. We shouldn't be doing that. We should be able to share and educate each other and help each other through those problems. Okay, my slide's not working, but that's fine. So information matters. I look at you guys, and again, we have such a mix of people, right? We have land surveyors, we have engineers, we have architects, we have people that are experts with BIM, we have people that are experts with scanners. The industry right now struggles to integrate all those. There's a lot of silos. People don't know how to do one versus the other. The only way to solve a lot of those problems is to work together. And through community and through collaboration, we will move 1,000% faster in the next 5 years than everybody trying to struggle on their own. Benjamin Franklin said, an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. And then education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. That's what we're going to try to do. Change the world. Some of you, and I've had a lot of conversations about this, right, is some people want to keep their secrets, right? They figure out how to do the best workflow, keep it to themselves. They can be the best scanning company. That hurts the industry. So think about this, right? A bunch of people out here are really struggling with, I'll use scanning as an example, because reality capture, scanning is the basis for a lot of what is happening in the built environment. Let's use scanning as an example. If all of you are continuing to struggle in different ways and not know how to integrate certain control or hit certain accuracies or create models that are useful for the client, but everyone's continuing on their own to try to struggle through it, but it's causing problems, it's causing delays because you didn't know how to actually get that result, and so you're spending all this extra time trying, or you think that you're registering it right, but maybe it's not accurate enough and you don't find out till it's in construction, or there's all these steps that can go wrong, can cause delays, can cause issues, can cause funds to, go overboard, over budget. That happens a lot. All of those things stunt the growth of these technologies because people don't trust them. They say, hey, we've tried scanning in the past. It really didn't work. Oh, we had a company come out and they brought the wrong device. We didn't. So when you look at what we can fix by working together, it actually grows the industry tremendously, because what happens if the client's really happy with the deliverable that you created and the service that you gave, and you delivered exactly what they were expecting and the models are useful? They're going to ask for 10 more projects instead of turn you away. And what happens when you get 10 more projects? Well, you're overwhelmed and you need to collaborate and call another guy to come help you with the model. And it all starts to compound. The companies that keep closed-minded and say, I'm going to keep everything for myself, I'm not open to collaboration, those are the ones that I don't think will be in business very long. Collaboration will get you more opportunity if you don't look at people as just competitors, but collaborators in this industry. Another thing that we're doing, we've talked about a little bit. I'm not going to go deep because we're going to have a whole panel about this, but a way that we're trying to actually make change is the committees that we launched. We talked about these last year, and this is an area where it's not us just telling you something. You're not just watching a webinar. You're not just listening to a podcast. These committees are focused around each technology and solution. It is very difficult. It is a lot of work to get these committees off the ground. We are launching one at a time. We successfully launched our laser scanning and LiDAR committee, and we have our 3 chair and co-chairs that were voted for, that applied to be leaders. They are all 3 here this week, and so are a lot of the committee members. We have over 200 professionals that have said, I want to volunteer, I want to be involved, I want to help. Right now, we have about 20 to 50 that join every other week, sitting on a meeting together, talking through problems, talking through solutions that need to be solved, from technical issues to business use cases to case studies to white papers, things that we can create that will empower every company that is trying to use these technologies, whether it's to solve technical problems for your own team or whether it's to sell a service to a client. All the things that can help this community grow. That's a way that you can get involved, which we'll be talking about more this week. So that empower piece, we talked about inspire, the information that's important. Empowerment is that last piece. If you just listen to information and don't do anything with it, does you no good. So our goal is trying to find ways to get you involved, to hand you something to use, to create training material, to create courses, to create boot camps, to create events. You can come together and network. So it's not just about the information, but empowerment. What can you do to actually implement what you're learning? And a big part of it, which is why we do so many fun networking events every night, is the people. You need to know people who do the thing that you need help with, or that can help fill the gap that your company doesn't do. Nobody in here can solve every technical problem in this ecosystem. I know people who try to do a lot of them, but you cannot do all of them. So collaboration is key to you being successful with growing and implementing these technologies. Believing you can make a difference is also the first part, right? Mindset and inspiration, a lot of people still look over that and they're like, that's fluffy stuff too. But it's true. If people even ask about how we built this conference. It's like, we thought we could do it, and so then we did it. So many people think of that idea, they're like, I'd like to build a company. I'd like to try to get into this technology. I'd like to start a podcast, but they just think it without taking the action. That's the part that I think that those of you who are action takers, you can be the ones to help inspire people in your community, in your circle, in your company. The more people that get inspired and empowered to actually take action will be the ones who make a difference. So, starting with belief. Starting today will change tomorrow. We talked about this quite a bit. Innovation, right? All of what we're talking about is innovation with technology and change. What's a process we can improve? What's a technology that could also help us improve that process? All of it is innovation. You can't start innovation today and usually see the results the same day. You have to invest in it. You have to put your time into it. And if your company doesn't have that on their roadmap, it should. If you're an innovative person, I experienced this. This is why I started my company 8 years ago when I was doing service work. I was in a large corporate company that I loved the people, but it was too slow for me. I got way too excited about these technologies. I wanted to run. I wanted to try new things. I wanted to work in new industries. I wanted to be able to make decisions on the go. So if I didn't have that support somewhere, that's the change I made. I quit, and I said, I'm going to do this on my own. It's going to be difficult, it's going to be challenging, but I can make those decisions, and I can move at the speed that I want. I never encourage people just, hey, quit your job and start a company. It's not what I would suggest. But what I would suggest, there are many companies that do have a challenge, right? With leadership, with buy-in, with funds, with allowing you to try things. As we inspire people to be innovative and want to push technology and make change, if you find yourself in an ecosystem that doesn't allow it, then I actually would encourage you, consider that. Not even just to go start your company, but there's a lot of companies that are really diving into innovation now. Don't let your environment or the people be around you be what holds you back from continuing to drive change. The future doesn't create itself, right? I share this quote quite a bit. The best way to predict the future is to create it. I love that quote for our community. Because anything that is created right now, right? At some point, it was someone's idea. It was an idea. Somebody took the steps to actually implement it to get it to where it is today. We have a lot of innovative people and dreamers here, right? Whatever you're thinking the future might be in 5, 10, 15 years, it only gets there if action takers take the steps, and you could be one of those people. It doesn't build itself. And that second quote, the secret of getting ahead is getting started. Back to taking action. I'm going to leave you with that. We have a lot of technology we're going to be talking about. We have a lot of panel conversations. We have a lot of amazing presentations. And of course, one of my favorite parts is the evening activities, getting to see all of you, hang out. Please make sure that you introduce yourselves. I would love to meet you. With that, we're going to kick the rest of the day off. Thank you very much.